Chapter 43. The party was in full swing when they got back to the flat. The music was very loud and could be heard halfway down the street, but everyone reckoned that for one night only, Crew and their downstairs neighbours would have to put up with it. Sally put a shepherd's pie in the oven to warm up, with mountains of garlic bread to sop up the drink later. She dropped her stuff in her bedroom and then went to find Rupert. She should have known he would be pinned in a corner by her dear sister. When Sally had gone for cleavage, Dora had gone for plunging backless dress. She looked stunning, and Sally's heart sank. Here we go again. I can't compete with that. She went to the kitchen to get a drink, and Janine caught her grim expression. Not fed up already, surely, she commented. Oh no, just feeling inadequate as usual. Darling Dora has set her sights on Rupert tonight. She obviously has intentions of giving him a good send-off. Janine came and gave Sally a hug. Listen to me. You have a bond with Rupert. You always have, and that counts for a lot. I don't know if it can go anywhere. Let's face it, a week ago he was wild in love with Isabel. But don't let Dora muscle in on your night, and it is your night, Sally. You have been a triumph in every way on this production and saved a lot of people's asses. You go for it and enjoy. You look gorgeous. Now please find my errant boyfriend and tell him I need him for 5 minutes. Sally did as she was told and sent Pete to the kitchen. She then made her way to the corner. Hi guys. Wow, Dora, you look amazing. That dress is almost finished, she quipped. Yes, very funny, sister dear. But I could say the same about yours, Dora threw back. Now, girls, please, no scraping. This evening's all about feeling the love in the room. Rupert was laughing at them. Can I get you another drink? Suggested Dora. Or would you like some of my homemade shepherd's pie? You must be starving, ventured Sally. Rupert raised his hand in surrender. I give in, both please. Sally and Dora exchanged murderous looks and went off to the kitchen. Rupert, meanwhile, went in search of moral support and found Geoffrey and Jeremy in deep conversation about the play. Oh, we will miss you, Rupert, said Geoffrey, even though the competition had been grueling, hasn't it, Jeremy? Indeed it has, from both sides of the fence, teased Jeremy. You had the pick of the bunch. Oh, don't, groaned Rupert. Sally and Dora have been on the attack already. I'm beginning to wonder if this would be my chance to have a random night with two sisters. What do you reckon? Oh, too much information, chorused the other two. We'll wait. I'll wait the results like two sad old farts. Actually, I must say my farewells, Rupert, as I'm off to Manchester tonight, Jeremy told him. So good luck, mate, and I hope we meet again very soon. Maybe even in the West End. Fingers crossed. Absolutely. Wouldn't that be great? We would knife each other to pieces every night. Jeremy went to find Sally and accosted her on the way to the kitchen. Hey, Sal, I forgot to go I have to go so early, but Eddie is picking me up in 5 minutes. Have a great night. See you Monday morning. Love you. He gave her a kiss and locked off. Peggy and Percy were tucked into the shepherd's pie at the kitchen table when Sally came in to get her share for Rupert. This is spot on, girl, mumbled Mercy through a large mouthful. You're not only a lovely actress, but a consummate cook. You better watch out, Peggy. You have got competition. Yes, dear, in your dreams. Well done, Sally. It is lovely. Come over here. I want to ask you something. She beckoned to Sally, who crossed the kitchen and knelt down at Peggy's side. What's up? She asked. Have you seen that Sarah tonight anywhere? Peggy whispered. No, come to think of it, I haven't. Did she say she couldn't come? No, but I tell you what, she's up to something. Every Saturday night I notice she's gone a bit quiet, and I just wonder where she goes. You mark my words, there is something going on. Sally filled a plate and went in search of her man. Rupert was surrounded by the boys, and they seemed to be having such a wonderful time. She felt a smidgen of guilt at breaking it up. But once the boys saw the grub, they were off. Well, you certainly know how to clear a room, laughed Rupert. Oh, yummy. Is this for me? Sally, you have been so outstanding on everything to do with this job. I really couldn't have coped without you. I hope we can stay in touch. Do you think Giles might ask you to understudy in the West End? Wouldn't that be great? Maybe I should mention it to him. Well, it is a kind thought, agreed Sally. Though it would be great to have a real part in something next. Who knows? She knocked back her drink and decided now was the time for the champagne, before everyone was too plastered to enjoy it. Will you excuse me a minute? I have a hostess job to perform, she said, and reluctantly turned away to see Dora bearing down on him with a bottle of champagne, no less tucked under her arm. Just a minute, my girl. That belongs to me, and is going to be opened when I say the word and not before. So give it here and go and find some other form of alcohol with which to secure your prey. My word, aren't we the diva tonight? Here, take your miserable champagne. I don't need any help to seduce a man. Dora sashayed across the room and joined Rupert and the boys who had returned with their spoils. Well, that should keep her out of trouble till I return, thought Sally. When Sally got back to the kitchen, she was greeted by the sight of Janine and Gwendolen laying out an incredibly beautiful cake into her plate. Oh my goodness, where did that come from? I know, you were not supposed to come in here until we were ready to present this to you. And Rupert, Janine made it, and I supplied the ingredients, said Gwendolen. Oh, girls, what a wonderful idea, and it's great timing, because I was just about to open the champagne I have brought as my surprise, so we can have cake and champagne to finish off the evening with a bit of class. Sally got all the glasses laid out on the table side while the girls finished arranging the cake. Shall we carry the cake in, lass? Asked Gwendolen. Absolutely, nodded Sally. And I will now go and give everyone a glass of champagne and prepare them for your entrance. She managed to get everyone next door to be quiet and not sip the champagne until she had said her few words. But first she went to the kitchen door and announced, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for that talented duo in the wardrobe department. With yet another sight to the talent, let them eat cake. The girls entered to wild cheers and applause at the sight of this huge cake on top. They had returned to Rupert and Sally. What a pair. With love from the cast and crew, November 1982. Would Rupert and Sally please like to come and cut the cake? Said Janine, producing two big knives, one for each of them. Rupert spoke first, saying, I never imagined it was going to be as good as this. All the ups and downs, and that was just my sex life. No, seriously, we had our problems. But you have all been so supportive to me, and I hope we all meet again one day in the future. But can I say a special thank you to Sally, here, who she has been my rock. Rupert leaned over and gave Sally a big smack on the lips as everyone cheered with delight, perhaps Dora less so. Sally responded with a short and sweet thank you so much, everyone. I am completely overwhelmed. No job will ever compare with this. Thank you. She swallowed hard and raised a glass of champagne to the room. Cheers, everyone, and good luck always. The toast resounded round the room, and then in a flash all was back to normal and the business of eating and drinking was resumed. Let's hope once the champagne dries up they will start to leave, said Sally, who was feeling a little tipsy. Oh, don't worry, they will go soon enough, but you and I will have some serious drinking to do, Rupert said. I have never seen you drunk. It would be quite a surprise, a bit like your lack of underwear in your field costume. That was so rousing, but you already know that, don't you? He held her gaze. Sally did not look away, but murmured, yes, it was very exciting. One of those rare, unexpected moments. I love them, and I love to be surprised. She turned away to give someone a piece of cake. Rupert slipped his arms around her and drew her to him, whispering, perhaps I can surprise you again tonight. It took all of Sally's self-control not to let out a whoop of delight right there. Instead, she looked him straight in the eye, and whispered back, show me. And then she walked away, hoping Rupert could not see how her legs were trembling. The next half an hour seemed like an eternity, but eventually everyone was gone except Sally, Rupert, and Dora. Oh, yes, Sally had forgotten about Dora. This is cozy, the girl said, opening the last bottle of champagne. The one Sally had been saving to take to bed with Rupert. Where did you find that bottle, Dora? She asked carefully. In your bedroom for some reason, in an ice bucket ready to go. There was a deafening silence. Then Rupert spoke very quietly but steadily. Oh, yes, Dora, you have caught me out. I was going to spend some time drinking that with Sally tonight before we said our goodbyes. We have been through a great deal, as you know, so no offence to you, but we will say good night now. Go in the other room, if you don't mind. Dora was dumbstruck. Probably for the first time in her life, she had nowhere to go with this, so she stood up and put a bottle down the bed, but kept her own glass in her hand. Good night, then. I'm sure you won't begrudge me this one glass. I raise it to you both and wish you health, wealth, and happiness. And with that, she went to her room without a murmur. Sally turned and looked at Rupert. I can't believe you did that, she breathed. Needs must sometimes. Now come on, take me to your room so we can have that talk or whatever. There was a very naughty twinkle in his eye, or so Sally hoped, because, quite frankly, she was 2 sheets to the wind and her own eyesight was blurred. She hoped Rupert's sight might be similarly incapacitated for the rest of the evening. Should she have to take her clothes off? But stop, she was getting above her station. They drew into the bedroom with a bottle. Rupert placed it by the side of the bed and proceeded to take his clothes off. Sally was taken back. What are you doing? She asked rather foolishly. Isn't it obvious? I hardly think lying in your bed in my brown boots and Levi's is very suitable. He had stripped to his pants and then pulled back the sheets and got into bed. Come on then, chop chop. We haven't got all night. Well, we have, but I have no doubt that at some point you will fall asleep on me. Sally was now completely thrown. She had never undressed in front of anyone before. All her drunken sessions had been with as little light as possible and as many clothes on as she could reasonably get away with. This was a nightmare. She sat on the edge of the bed and turned on the lamp, her side of the bed. She had pulled off her dress before she realized she would have to go and turn off the main light. thus exposing her fat stomach and unattractive tights. But at least the tights kept the fat on her legs and enclosed and gave them a nice smooth shine. She was going to have to make a dash for the switch and hope he wasn't looking. Fat chance of that. He was sitting up sipping his champagne waiting for the floor show. Oh well, here goes nothing, she thought. She thought she had a gorgeous bra on at least, which she had to go and buy to complement the low dress and get a good cleavage. Janine had chosen it, otherwise she would have been in her usual Marks and Spencer white matching sensible underwear. It was a black lace half-cut bra, and she wore a matching black lace thong, which had been annoying her all night because it was right up her bum. She tried to walk with the stomach turned away from the bed, which gave her a strange look of a lost spider. When she got to the light switch, she lifted her arms above her head in a kind of mock stretch, which gave her the opportunity to breathe in deeply and hold her stomach in for the final moment in the light. Then, thank God, the light was off and there was only the rosy glow from her little bedside light. She managed to hold her breath all the way back to the bed when she slipped sniffly between the sheets. Well, they weren't exactly the most seductive moves I have seen in a bedroom, Sally, came Rupert's voice, but I guess you have yet to perfect them for professional purposes. What do you mean by that? She exclaimed, stung. You think I do this all the time? How dare you suggest I'm a slapper? Like some girls you know, she said pertinently, then regretted. No, Rupert said calmly. I mean, when you have to do love scenes on camera, you tweet. It is horrible, believe me, Sal. You feel such an ass in front of the crew and everyone is scrutinizing your bits, etc. It's a nightmare. So all I am saying is you should practice a little more and have your moves ready. Sorry, I didn't understand what you're driving at, but I can assure you, Rupert, I will not be asked to do those sort of scenes. I'm just not pretty enough. I know my limitations. I am a character actress. I will always be the fat friend or the mixed one who is useless. Honestly, I don't mind. As long as I can play good parts in prestigious productions, I will be happy. Give me some champagne, you greedy pig. You have already drunk half the bottle. It was me who was supposed to show you I can get drunk. She grabbed the bottle, poured herself a glass, and threw it back, then poured another. Rupert was leaning on elbows, watching her with a smile on his face. You are such good value, Sally. Do you know that? I love being with you. It makes me smile all the time. Isabel was hard work, and I was supposed to be in love with her. Sally sighed inwardly. Oh God, I knew she would have to come up eventually, but how am I going to get rid of her from the conversation? Don't you think maybe it was more lust than love? I mean, she's a gorgeous girl and everything, but she's so self-obsessed, Rupert. How could she love anyone back? And all that anorexia and bulimia and the drugs, it is not good for her. Certainly not you. You don't need that kind of image just as you are about to crack it big on the West End stage. You need a nice, calming influence like me. Sally couldn't believe she had just come out with that statement and was about to take it back when Rupert leaned over and kissed her. She waited for him to draw away again, but he didn't. Instead, he moved over to her and slowly began to explore her with his tongue. It was bliss. Sally loved kissing and was always disappointed when boys used to stop as quickly as they could in order to get to the next part of the proceedings, which was usually to grab a breast. Not so young Rupert. They seemed to kiss for hours, only coming up now and then for air. But suddenly everything changed for both of them. Sally could feel her need growing inside her. All the doubts and hurts and worries were disappearing and leaving in their place a hunger, a huge desire to feel another human being, to touch skin and taste salty kisses and burn from his touch. Rupert had slipped on top of her and seemed to have discarded his pants on the way. What about precaution? She managed to mumble through the kisses. Taken care of. Rupert's voice was low and urgent. Sally, you're a beautiful person. He gently found her G-string and removed it, then unclasped her expensive lacy bra with one deft click of his fingers. But he did not clutch at her boobs. He just kissed her all over, exploring her body. Sally was shy at first because she did not want him to be disappointed. Isabel, she most certainly was not. But whether it was down to the champagne or Rupert's power of seduction, slowly she opened up to him. She wanted to explore his body, was hungry for more. Hey, take it easy. He panted. We have got all night. You know, I want to savor this, Miss Sally Thomas. A tiger in bed. Stop, Rupert. You embarrass me now. Please, let's just do it. What a quaint turn of phrase for the excellent lovemaking I had in mind. Do it. Sally Thomas, just lie back and enjoy. You deserve it. Chapter 44. You will both have to have blood tests. Giles sat back from the table in a private sitting room of the Queen's Hotel and watched the two young novels try to absorb the devastating information he had just imparted to them. There was no other way of doing this except with the brutal and honest truth. All of them, including himself, were in mortal danger. He had discussed it endlessly with Teddy, who had gone up to London merely to see his private doctor, but this was not something that could be cured with money. So is Robert going to die? Whispered Eddie. I'm afraid he's close to the end, and I was going to suggest you both went to visit him to say goodbye. I will pay the train fares for you. You could go down tomorrow and come back Monday morning. Do you have anywhere you can stay tomorrow night? If not, I'll pay for our B&B. There are plenty in the vicinity of the station now. Is there anything you want to ask me? Giles was acutely aware that Eddie was going to have to talk to his father, and God knows how Teddy Graham was going to deal with the fact that his only son and heir was gay, or indeed that his own secret life was now obsession with exposure. Are we going to die? Jeremy was holding himself right straight, and his face was white and pinched. He let out a little moan and then covered his mouth with his hand. Oh God, what am I going to tell my parents? I suggest you say nothing to anyone at this juncture, advised Giles. First things first, you will go and have blood tests on Monday morning, and then once we have the results, we will know better what we have to do. I'm so sorry, boys. It is the most frightening thing to happen to any of us. Everyone in the gay community is going to have to stick together and beat this. He got up from the table and bade them both good night. It was already this early hours of Sunday morning, and the boys were exhausted. Come on, Eddie, let's go to bed and try to get some sleep. Jeremy said, I will look up the trains for tomorrow. They passed the bar on the way to their room and heard all the laughter and screaming of delight that accompanied a Saturday night at the Queen's Hotel. How different was life going to be for so many people if this terrible disease got a grip. They undressed and prepared for bed in silence. Once under the covers, they lay side by side, each with its own thought racing through his head. Then very softly Eddie began to cry, just sniffles at first as he brushed away a tear, but then he could not hold in the sobs that raked his body. Jeremy took him in his arms and rocked him gently, ignoring his own tears. Went on his cheek. Shush now, come on, Eddie. All is not lost. We may be okay. Come on, be strong. We will fight this together. Please don't cry, my love. Jeremy held his lover until finally Eddie fell asleep. Jeremy turned over and tried to fall asleep himself, but his mother's face was right there in front of him, her warm, lovely smile reassuring him when he was frightened or insecure as a child. It is all right, Jeremy dear. You will be fine. Mummy loves you very much, and you are a very good boy. The boys found themselves in a room in B&B near Euston the next evening. It was not the most salubrious of areas, but this particular establishment was down a side street up near Camden Town, in a shabby Georgian terrace house. The room was clean, and the landlady, a very jolly lady, born and bred locally. Just make sure you have no visitors. All right, darlings. She waved her finger at them. There are plenty of ladies out there willing to oblige you with a bit of fun, but they do not belong in my house. Do you understand? She stood in front of them with her hands on her hips, waiting for their response. It would have been funny if things had been different, though. Jeremy smiled at her and promised, oh, absolutely, we have no intention of bringing anyone back. We just need a place to sleep tonight before we get the train back to Crewe tomorrow morning. They had arranged to go and visit Robert that evening. Neither of them could talk about it or what they were going to do or say. Jeremy had so many questions for Eddie, as he had no idea that Robert and Eddie had once had an affair, or it was just a one-night stand. How many others were there? But he could not bear to open the can of worms just yet. There was too much at stake. For now they were simply doing what Giles told them. They had been given the number of a new organisation called the Terrace Higgins Trust, which offered advice to anyone who needed it regarding the disease. Let's see Robert first, and then we can ring them and ask questions, said Jeremy. I hate hospitals, muttered Eddie as they made their way through reception on the ward at St. Thomas. It was not a good place to be. Jeremy had to agree. The neon lighting was harsh against the dark windows, and outside, a cold, damp December evening was pressing up against the glass. The nurse showed them to a side room on a ward. At first, Jeremy thought the bed was empty, as there was no sign of a body under the covers, but as he moved further into the room and around the corner of the end of the bed, he grasped and pulled back. Robert's head was just visible above the sheets, but it was more like a skull. The skin was stretched so thinly across the cheekbone, and the eyes were sunken, lost under the brow, like two black stones on the mouth of a cave. Jeremy had to use every ounce of strength to pull himself together. Hi, Robert, he tried to smile. We have come to say hello and wish you better. I'm sorry this has happened. Robert opened his mouth and tried to speak, but there was nothing. He then pushed the covers down and struggled to lift his arm. What do you want? Asked Jeremy. Water? Hang on, I will get it for you. He went to the cabinet at the side of the bed and found a beaker with a spout. He leaned into Robert and tried to place the spout in his mouth. He felt so clumsy and was terrified he would break out Robert's arm, trying to sit him up, as it was thin as a twig covered in sores. He could feel the revulsion in himself, then the fear that he would somehow be infected. He pulled back and said, "Shall I get the nurse? Sorry, I'm being useless, aren't I?" Robert shook his head and a ghost of a smile brushed his lips. He looked past Jeremy to Eddie, who was transfixed. He could not move from the end of the bed. "Robert, I'm so sorry. Sorry, I can't cope with this." Eddie turned and fled from the room. "Take a deep breath." Jeremy took Robert's hand in his and squeezed very gently. "Take care, lots of love." He could feel Robert trying to squeeze his hand back, but his tiny bony sticks that were his fingers just lay inert. It was like touching a skeleton. And Jeremy had to grit his teeth to stop a scream pushing its way out from the pit of his stomach. This was his worst nightmare. He managed to extricate his hands and step back. Every fibre of his being was pulling him towards the door. He was just wanting to follow Eddie and run for his life, literally. "Goodbye, Robert," was all he could murmur, and he slowly moved backwards towards the door, keeping his eye on the man in the bed until the very last moment when he turned and staggered from the room. Eddie was nowhere to be seen, so Jeremy went to the exit hoping to find him on the way. He discovered Eddie outside sitting on the wall, hugging himself for warmth. "I'm so sorry, but I just couldn't take it, Jay," he said hoarsely. He was like a skeleton. There was nothing left of him. Oh my God, what a horrible way to die. It's like he just it's just like he just disintegrated. Fuck this. He stood up and paced in circles. "Come on," said Jeremy. "Let's get out of here. We need to eat." They found a little trattoria and a place of pasta and a carafe of red wine. "So tell me about you and Robert. When did that happen? Before me or after me?" Jeremy was determined to keep calm and objective, although his heart was pounding. What other secrets had Eddie been keeping from him? Eddie did not answer straight away, but sat very still, staring at Jeremy. Finally said, I love you, Jeremy. I really do. You are the first person I have ever felt really close to in my life. But I love sex. I love the excitement of pulling someone. That first kiss, I can't help myself, and it is going to destroy everything for me in the end." Robert was just a fling. He was at the Queensland one night with a whole lot of faggots, and they were all such fun, and there was a lot of champagne flowing. We had an incredible night. It is what I love, Jeremy, and I have basically been doing it for the last 3 years. I'm not proud of who I am or what I'm becoming, and my love for you has made me realize it is not the way to live my life. So now I am going to reap the terrible rewards of my action, aren't I? I am probably going to die a horrible death like Robert. He took a sip of wine to stop himself from bursting into tears. Jeremy pushed his plate away. He felt sick and incredibly hurt and shaken. How could he not have seen what Eddie was like? He had his suspicions when Eddie had first taken him to the Queen, and everybody seemed to know him. But this was a whole different person talking now in front of him. The boy was in a different league. Jeremy had thought theirs was a romance, a love story, the two of them finding each other and building life together. But how could that ever happen if Eddie needed these diversions? It was never going to happen now anyway, because they could both be infected with this deadly virus. I cannot understand how you can say you love me and then go and have an orgy with other men. Sorry, Eddie. I'm obviously not in your world. I'm disgusted. I feel betrayed and demeaned and very foolish. How naive am I? You must have had a laugh about good old Jeremy coming out of the closet. Stop it, Jay, please. I love you. I know I'm a mess, but I can change. I want to change. This is the most important thing. If you are there for me, I can do anything. Please, Jeremy, don't abandon me now, he implored. Jeremy could not deal with any of it. He was just lost. He called for the bill, and they went back to the digs. Jeremy lay on top of his single bed and tried to put his thoughts in order. Eddie lay beside him on the other bed, waiting. "Look, I'm sorry, Eddie, but I don't know what to think at this moment," he said in the end. "Let's just get through the next 24 hours, and then we can see where all this is going. It's a fucking nightmare at the moment, that's for sure. Good night." Then he turned off the light and lay in the London night, feeling as though he was hurtling down a ravine into nothing but blackness. Thank you for listening.